All right, it is 7 p.m. We will call this meeting to order, meeting of the East Lansing Board of Education. Could I have a roll call, please?
Dr. Chambers.
Present.
Dr. Edsel.
Here.
Ms. Fink.
Here.
Dr. Lyons.
Here.
Ms. Powers.
Here.
Mr. Martin.
Here.
Ms. Walton.
Here.
Student Representative Benavides. Student Representative Milat. Ms. Lako.
Here. I also want to just say our speakers aren't working. The microphones actually are, which I guess you can't tell which is which. And the only thing is Mr. Pulaski said still use the microphones because they are working and they are working for our live stream. So
Okay.
use the microphones even though it sounds like they're not working. It's an issue with our speakers, not the mics.
Sounds good.
Okay, just remember. Thank you.
Excellent. Trustee Fink, would you read our mission statement for us, please?
Mission statement is nurturing each child, educating all students, and building world citizens.
Thank you. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I
Move the
move.
Board of Education approve the agenda of the November 14, 2022 regular meeting as presented.
Second.
Moved by trustee Martin, seconded by trustee Lyons. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda as presented? Seeing none, all of those in favor of the agenda indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 24th, 2022 board meeting?
I move the Board of Education approve the October 24th, 2022 regular meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
Moved by trustee Walton, seconded by trustee Edsel. Were there any corrections to the minutes as presented? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We will move on to recognition. Mr. Martin, do you have any recognition this evening?
Yes, I do. A couple things. The first is a nice recognition for our Quiz Bowl team. This is from Ms. Prewish, the Quiz Bowl advisor for East Lansing. And it appears that she wanted to share that our team competed in their first in-person competition of the year and won first place in varsity, winning 5 of their 6 rounds. And it was several students' first competition. And for those who competed before, this was their first in-person competition. So things were kind of getting back to normal for the Quiz Bowl team. The team competed against students from Stockbridge, Perry, and Western. And then I want to acknowledge the students who competed in the competition. Their names are Maggie Callender, Mona Boren, Peter Aline, David Barger, Margaret Beaver, Clara Craig, and Ty Wysong. And thanks again to Ms. Prewish for all of her efforts on behalf of the Quiz Bowl team. Then we also had some recognition that we talked about at our last meeting, but we didn't have handy, so I have it now. And this is for our national merit folks. The following students were recognized for their achievement as national merit semifinalists and other commended students. We have one national merit semifinalist, Vaughn Jarvie. We have several commended students, including William Beekman, John Bonnell, Skylar Hamlin, and Elke Shrink. And then there's some College Board national recognition. These are for National African American Recognition Award and National Hispanic Recognition Award. Janiyah Edwards is one of our students receiving the National African American Recognition Award. Kennedy Duncan is another student receiving that recognition. Then Tate Schwartz, National Hispanic Recognition Award, and John McGuire, National Hispanic Recognition Award. So congratulations to those students on their achievements.
Very good. Is there any other recognition this evening? I am confident that Mr. Milak has a lot of recognition to share this week, so
I didn't want to jump in.
if there is no further recognition, we will move on to the student representative report.
Good afternoon, or night, I guess. I'm sorry. Good night. Today I have with my, my student report contains recognition for the swim and dive team, Evie Whitrock, Gwen Petrie, Sarah Bergolt, Sophia Fikes, and Rachel Caparati at Calvin College for the state swim meet this Friday and Saturday. Good luck to them. I'd also like to acknowledge the football team who put together a great season. They were the district champions this year, I believe, and they lost in the regional final on Friday, but they put together a nice run. And then this weekend is for the East Lansing Theater. I believe it's a Midsummer Night's Dream this year. Yep, that's the play this weekend, and that's my report. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Any questions for Mr. Milak? All right. We will move on to the superintendent's report.
All right, I'm going to start with a little election update from our Board of Education election last week. We had 4 open seats and 10 candidates for the East Lansing Board of Education on last Tuesday's ballot. Our 2 incumbents, Kath Edsel and Tara Chambers, were elected for 4-year terms. 2 newcomers, yes, and Tally Ferris Highland, who's with us tonight, and Amanda Cormier were elected to 4-year terms as well. And they'll begin their service on the board in January 2023. And Board of Education President Kate Powers and Vice President Chris Martin will conclude their service to the district at the end of the calendar year. But it's not their last meeting yet. A little bit of a construction update. All materials are on site for the completion of our outdoor learning centers. Donley's is complete and Marbles was scheduled to be completed Friday. Then they'll move on to Green, then White Hills, Glen Cairn, and Red Cedar. Installation takes about a week at each site. Solar fencing at Donley, or the fencing around the solar field, what you see right now is still not permanent. The permanent fencing is scheduled to begin November 18th, so later this week. And we are working with our architects and construction manager to make a few adjustments to our courtyard playground at Red Cedar and some ADA updates at other playgrounds. We are still seeking second shift custodians, so I'll just put out there. We are hiring custodians and custodial supervisors. It'll be district employed. Our day shifts are full, but we have evening second shifts available from 3 to 11 p.m. And starting pay is $16 to $19 per hour plus full benefits. We have some, I included in yesterday's updates that went to the community Thanksgiving meal opportunities, both for supplies and or hot meals in the area, and then an opportunity like we've done the last few years for folks to donate that we take in, redistribute to families in need that are part of the district. Last year, we provided support to over 130 ELPS families over winter break through donations from the community, East Lansing Police Department and East Lansing Fire Department. And we are looking to offer what we are able to again this year, and every dollar collected is redistributed to families. There's a couple different ways folks can donate. We've found that Venmo is one of the probably more popular ones. And easiest, but they can also be mailed as well. We still have at-home COVID tests available. I want to make sure we share that, and we'll get that out also for over Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving holiday break. We have those available. If folks want them to have at home, we'll get them out and get them home with students so that they could test before coming back to school that Monday. And lastly, I just want to share that the staff bonuses that the board approved a couple meetings ago will be issued to our staff members this coming Monday, so a week from today. So they'll have them before the Thanksgiving break.
Wonderful. Are there questions for the superintendent regarding her report?
Yeah.
Do
I was
we-
wondering, is it possible to get a little bit more detail about the what's being done at Red Cedar and the ADA updates to the playgrounds? Or is that?
Red Cedar specifically, we're looking at putting some shading over the roller slide because the rollers that were on there in the sun were getting warm. So we're looking at getting a shade put over that. Another layer or some combined, taking a look at the sand that's in the sandbox. That will probably actually be a spring thing, as we'll have to replace that and add to it anyway. And then some modifications and pathways to some of the swings that are over there so that wood chips isn't the only way to be traveled to get to those. And that's primarily what are looking at the other playgrounds too, is some flat areas to access some of the equipment and not just the wood chips or some of the other barriers that some may encounter.
Awesome.
So more about, just really access to the equipment and providing better access.
Scoreboard.
Yeah, that's coming through the building. We're not, I mean, we are, yes, it's happening. It's just not something our construction managers and architects are working on with us. We're dealing directly with the principal over there because they're doing some indoor ones too, so they want them all the same.
Gotcha.
So yes, a core communication board over at Red Cedar,
a great idea,
just
too,
to support students who are nonverbal or with limited verbal skills to be able to access visuals.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So these outdoor learning spaces, how, I know that you said they're gonna take a week to construct. When do we expect the the full installation to be completed? Like, can they do it in the winter?
Well, we had our meeting on Friday, and Marble was supposed to be done Friday. I didn't go look this weekend, so assuming that was the case, Green would be this week, and then White Hills would be the week of maybe Thanksgiving or the
30th.
week after, and then more likely the 30th, and then first 2 weeks of December. So I mean, yeah, they can
So they-
still do them at that point in time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, they'd like to complete all of our projects too.
I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never.
Just looking forward to that solar fencing, Dory.
I know. I've been watching for that too because I haven't been a fan of the chain link fence and promised something much more attractive. So it's coming.
All right, any other questions for the superintendent? Very good. We will move on to the consent agenda. Could I have a motion, please?
I move the Board of Education approve the consent agenda to include the following item. A, hiring of Catherine Maloney, 1.0 FTE Glencairn Resource Room Interventionist at MA Step 4, effective November 15th, 2022.
Second.
Moved by trustee Chambers, seconded by trustee Lyons. I will remind you, there is no discussion regarding the consent agenda. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion carries 6-1. Ms. Maloney, I believe, is here with us this evening. If you would like to come forward and say some words, you're more than welcome to. You do not have to, but we would love to just welcome you to the district. Grateful for your commitment to our kids. Because of the microphone situation, can I ask you to come to the podium?
Yeah. The hordes
Just
of
so that
people
everyone can hear the wonderful things that you have to say.
at home.
No, I'm just very excited to join a wonderful team at Glencairn. I just moved to the area, and I've already had a chance to spend a few days there, and everybody's been wonderful. I'm very excited.
Wonderful. We're
Welcome.
glad to have you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now is the time for public comment. This is the opportunity to address the board. Speakers are to confine their remarks to 5 minutes. If you are interested in making public comment, please feel free to fill out a blue slip. I do not currently have any. If you require more than 5 minutes, but if no one's going to take me up on it, then we're just going to move forward. You're not going to need more than 5 minutes. We have no slips. All right. Made that easy enough. All right, we'll move on to our action items. Could I have a motion to approve the custodial equipment purchase?
I move the Board of Education approve the purchase of the custodial equipment in the amount of $222,010.95 as presented.
Second?
Moved by trustee Etzel, second by trustee Martin. Is there any discussion, questions regarding this motion? I believe Mr. Pugh is with us this evening and would likely be willing to answer any questions that we might have.
Mr. Pugh, can you clarify for the community where those funds will come from?
Good evening. The purchases will be made out of the general fund.
Thank you. You can go sit down now.
Wait, hold on.
The rest of us have questions.
Rich, you
Just
know
make him
that.
wanna-
Other questions for Mr. Pugh?
And just to clarify, I know you've been through this before, but this is a necessity because we have taken a lot of the custodial work in-house.
Correct. All of the current custodial equipment is owned by the contractor. And it's actually in a condition that the district isn't interested in purchasing. So we're looking to purchase all brand new stuff.
Thank you for that clarification.
Other questions or discussion regarding this motion on the table?
I'm just thankful that we're in a financial position to be able to do this and make this investment, which I think is, in other financial times would not have been possible. So it works out, and I'm grateful for it. I'm glad that we'll be able to support our employees with this effort.
I would like to make one clarification
Uh-oh.
on the
Oops.
purchase of the equipment. We will be looking at available bond resources that remain within the elementary projects. We are looking to set aside some of those funds for technology purchases down the road, but a portion of this might be paid out of the bond funds.
So this is, the 222,000 is the max that it could be. It could be less depending, yeah, out
This-
of the general, oh, right, that's what I mean, out of the general fund. It could be that some of this is actually paid out of the
That's correct.
fund. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And we've purchased other equipment, vacuum cleaners, mops, brooms, and stuff like that that are well below the bid threshold that need to come to the board for action.
Very good.
I just have one other question. So in the proposal, it talked about the automated floor cleaners as a separate item. And is that's not included in this budget?
It is not.
Okay.
We're still looking at that as a
Yeah.
possibility. So we had a demo here a few weeks ago. It's one of those machines that you sit on, you map it out, and then it just sets and goes. So it was very interesting to see, but we're not quite ready to make a decision on that.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions for Mr. Pugh, or other questions or discussion on the motion? All right, all those in favor of the motion as presented indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Could I have a motion to approve the 2023 summer tax levy resolution?
I move the Board of Education approve the 2022-23 tuition rates as presented.
Nope, tax levy resolution.
Nope, just kidding. The Board of Education adopt the resolution as presented to impose a 100% summer tax levy to collect all school property taxes. That one.
Very
Second.
good. Moved by trustee Chambers, seconded by trustee Walton.
Got
Are there any
excited.
questions or discussion regarding the motion as presented? Just a reminder regarding the tax levy resolution.
Which one?
Just to clarify, Mr. Puke, I'm glad you stayed right there.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, this is something that the district does annually, correct?
Yep.
In
every year.
order to receive all of our municipal taxes in the summer as opposed to in two payments, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So this is the annual election the board does. I think it has to be done before January 1st of every year. And the district has, I believe, always been, at least since I've been here, 100% summer tax levy.
Very good. Are there any other questions for Mr. Pugh or any discussion regarding this motion? Okay. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Staying even closer now. Could I get a motion to approve the 2022-23 tuition rates?
I got this one too.
I'm saying clear out of it.
I move the Board of Education approve the 2022-23 tuition rates as presented.
Second.
Moved by trustee Etzel, seconded by trustee Lyons. Okay. Are there any questions or discussion regarding the tuition rates in the motion as presented? May I ask a question? I think just for the good of our community, because for folks who don't understand what the purpose of having a tuition rate at a public school might be, could you just explain what this means?
This is a requirement of the revised school code. So if we have a student, this is only for non-resident students. So if we had a non-resident student that wanted to attend the district outside of the school of choice window process, this would apply. It rarely happens. I think we've had one student on a tuition basis over the last 10 plus years. So it's just something that doesn't really happen that often, and just a requirement of the revised school code.
Very good. Other questions for Mr. Pugh?
A
Clarification?
clarification. I think I've been doing this long enough to know the answer, but let me check my understanding. So I know that I've gotten questions before about, can you use this as a workaround to schools of choice? And the answer is no, because we participate in schools of choice. Our ability to accept students through this tuition program depends on whether we have unfilled schools of choice slots at that grade level. So if we have the example used in the paperwork is if we have 10 slots, we use 8 of them, we could accept a student through this program. But if there aren't any slots or they're all used, they would not be eligible to come into the district. So it's not it's not possible to use this as a workaround. Excellent.
That's how I understood it.
I mean,
Any other questions or clarifications regarding the motion as presented? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We will move on to committee reports.
Academic and tech did not meet.
Okay. Facilities?
No report. The issues that we've been most focused on seem to be addressed by the superintendent's report. So
Very good. Finance?
We will meet this Thursday at 3.
Okay. Intergovernmental relations? Okay. We are scheduling a personnel committee meeting, which I believe will be between the 28th, so the Monday following Thanksgiving, and the 12th, and we will have that date as soon as possible. Policy?
Wednesday at 4, we will
Very
be
good.
meeting.
Are there any announcements?
The next academic tech meeting will be December 14th at 11 a.m. in this room.
Okay. Any announcements? I would just like to take a point of privilege because this is something that certainly affects our students. Just wanted to make folks aware that Thursday is National Children's Grief Awareness Day. I think as many of you know, in my day job, I work in the bereavement industry. 1 in 11 children in the state of Michigan will experience the death of a parent or a sibling by the time they're 18. So when you think about a classroom of children here, that could be up to 2 to 3 children in one of our classrooms. So it's just really important for us to recognize the fact that children's grief does exist. And if you feel so moved to do so, please wear blue on Thursday to support grieving children in our community and around the country.
Thank you.
Are there any other announcements? We will stand adjourned. It is 7:22. Thank you.
when is our finance meeting?